Game Time Astrology. I am your host, Q, the astrologer. And as I promised, I was going to come back for a part 2 on the whole Chris Brown situation. Okay, so let me go ahead and change the title of this. I forgot to do that so that you guys know when you come in. All right, there we are. So welcome, guys. Welcome back. I have here, I'm going to go and put it on the transit chart for today, which is, today is May the 16th. So you'll see the transits here. So basically, at the top, you'll see the noun planets, or where the planetary bodies are now. And on the left-hand side, you'll see where Chris Brown's natal placements are, okay? So I just want to throw this chart up, and then I'm also going to talk about the June 13th, 2025 transits as well, okay? So the first thing I want to start with, here's my angle, guys. I'm going to be like real off the cuff with it, okay? Because I can't try to like talk like other astrologers. Like that's just not how my brain works. So I'm going to go off the cuff here. So basically the question that we want to ask ourselves here in part 2 is why Chris Brown's astrology points pretty much have some sort of major legal crisis right now going on. We want to talk about the major Manchester arrest astrology that I kind of covered in part 1 with the Saturn and Neptune trap in his chart. And will Chris Brown go to prison? Okay, so let's go ahead and start from the top. And I want to highlight some major transits that I see here in this May 16th, 2025 chart. So these are his transits for today. I'm recording this on May the 16th. And number 1, we have transit Uranus and Taurus in the 10th house, which is also where his sun is. He has sun in the 10th house. And of course, I'm using whole sign houses here. So transit Uranus in Taurus in the 10th house square the nodes of fate. And he has the North Node in Pisces at 1 degree and the South Node in Virgo at 1 degree as well. So Uranus in the 10th house, this speaks to public image, career, authority figures. This could also speak to sudden, shocking events related to his fame, reputation, or legal battles. This could also symbolize, with the transit Uranus and Taurus square to the nodes of fate, a fall from grace, which is what he's going through right now. A fall from grace moment, like this unexpected arrest, career disruption, and scandal. Okay, so then when we talk about the square to the North Node, Pisces, and the South Node, Virgo, we're talking about karmic reckoning, which is what I mentioned in the first part. So basically, karmic reckoning is speaking to his past actions, that South Node and Virgo energy, which is very critical right now. South Node Virgo energy is like critical, perfectionism, possibly service oriented to the strength of the ego. And these past actions are now clashing with his destiny point, the North Node in Pisces, which is about surrender and spiritual lessons. So these legal troubles that Chris Brown is going through may definitely force a major life pivot. And like I said in the first part, possibly even incarceration. Okay. Now, the second transit that I want to talk about as well is I'm going to bring up the June 13th chart, because again, I think he's set to go to trial on June the 13th. So I did fast forward to June 13th, 2025 to see where the planetary energies are for him transit-wise. So again, the planets in the noun chart are going to be on the top, and then his planetary placements are going to be on the left-hand side. So you're going to be able to see in this chart how the planets will be aspecting his natal planets on June the 13th, 2025, which is, I feel like, the trial date. Okay. So when this happens on June 13th, Saturn will be in Aries at 1 degrees. Saturn will be in Aries at 1 degrees. Like I said, Saturn will ingress into the sign of Aries this month, May the 25th, 2025. And Aries is his 9th house. Okay. So let's kind of like break this down and I'll go more in depth with that. Okay. Just like off the top of the dome. So transit Saturn in Aries, square Mars in Cancer. And so he has Cancer as his 12th house and Uranus and Capricorn as his 6th house. So Uranus and Capricorn is in his 6th house and Mars and Cancer is in his 12th house. So Saturn in Aries represents restriction, discipline, and authority versus Mars and Cancer, 12th house, which is hidden enemies and self-undoing. So aggression, aka Mars, meets consequences, aka Saturn, which speaks to the past violent behavior that basically he's dealing with from 2023. So this past violent behavior has resurfaced legally, and this is what he's dealing with right now. When we talk about the 12th house rules prisons, isolation, and hidden struggles. And this is a classic incarceration aspect. Okay, so he's not doing well at all. Saturn also square Uranus in Capricorn, which is in the 6th house. So the 6th house rules our daily routines, our health, and also legal work. So this Saturn square Uranus in Capricorn is kind of like the system versus rebellion. Uranus is the rebellious energy and Saturn is the system energy. Systemic energy, structure, all that good stuff, right? So system versus rebellion could speak to clash with authorities, which is Saturn, over legal restrictions, which is Uranus in the 6th house. Because remember, he went to Manchester to work. And that's 6th house, work, your day-to-day work. And then number 3, I want to talk about the transit Pluto in Aquarius square to the midheaven Taurus, and transit Pluto in Aquarius square the 4th house in Scorpio. So Pluto equals transformation, power struggles, and forced evolution. And the midheaven speaks to our public reputation. And for him, it's in Taurus, okay, in the 10th house. His 10th house is Taurus. So the midheaven in Taurus, what this means is that with the square to the midheaven, Pluto could destroy his career, okay? So literally, if you look in this chart right here and you look for Pluto, you will see that transit Pluto is in a square to the midheaven in the IC. So this whole situation is literally destroying his career, or it could destroy his career if he does face life in prison, or any sort of years in prison. It could really destroy his career. Okay, now with Pluto in a square to his IC, aka the 4th house, which rules our roots and our private life, and his 4th house is in Scorpio. This represents deep, possibly traumatic family or psychological revelations. So while he's in prison, this could occur for him where he's having these revelations and these like traumatic episodes. I mean, when you go from being a free person, a celebrity at that, to being locked down in another country at that, I mean, that's the worst kind of trauma that I feel like anyone can experience, imaginable to me at least, right? And so the transit Pluto in Aquarius square his 4th house could also speak to life sentence energy, because Pluto doesn't let go easily. Okay, guys? The 4th key indicator here is transit Neptune in Aries. And I believe Aries is his 9th house, creating multiple hard aspects. So we have Neptune and Aries in the 9th house, which, the 9th house rules it rules law, religion, philosophy, but let's stick to the keyword law in this particular example. So with Neptune square Mars in the 12th house, this symbolizes delusions, false accusations, which lead to legal trouble. But I don't know if it's false accusations. I mean, it's pretty clear because the guy filed a lawsuit, and I believe he was able to show multiple injuries. This wouldn't be the case for this particular incident, but I do believe that there is some sort of delusions here with Chris Brown. And why I say that is because it's like, why would you go back to Manchester, England, knowing that you were in an incident 2 years prior to that where you assaulted someone with a bottle and you cause bodily harm to them using your person, using your fists, using your legs to kick them in the head, all these kinds of things, right? Also, too, with Mars and Cancer in his 12th house, the 12th house rules self-sabotage. Okay, so this could symbolize like setup, energy, or unclear evidence. So, I mean, we only know we were being told online and, reading articles. So I'm not sure what exactly is going on, but hey, it could be some unclear evidence and, he may actually be innocent. I really don't know much about the case, but I just thought it would be interesting to kind of like look at what happened with him since he's in a different country and try to like get some astrophotography insight from that. So moving forward, also Neptune in Aries in the 9th house is squared to Uranus and Capricorn in the 6th house. So this symbolizes chaos in work or health routines, which could also trickle down to possible institutionalization, which is what he's going through, forced institutionalization, forced imprisonment, okay? And then Neptune in Aries square Chiron in Cancer in the 12th house. This symbolizes deep wounds resurfacing, like past trauma, which is basically influencing current crisis. Because I recall a long time ago when Chris Brown had that incident with Rihanna, I recall that he witnessed his father or some male figure allegedly putting their hands on his mother, allegedly, and it kind of like trickled down to him. So, our 12th house, we have memories that are like deeply, hidden into our subconscious. And the 12th house wants us to unlock the subconscious mind so that we can be, greater and not feel imprisoned, so that we don't, result in escapist tendencies like substance abuse and alcohol and stuff like that. So as I'm looking at his chart, it's so interesting that, when we heard about the Rihanna thing and, allegedly he had a male figure in his family, which is, Mars and Cancer, right? Mars is aggressive energy and Cancer is family, right? So it makes sense that, right now with Neptune square Mars in Cancer in the 12th house, there's a lot of like past trauma that's coming up. And then Chiron is talking about the wounds that we have. And he has Chiron in the 12th house, right? So these deep wounds are definitely going to be surfacing while he is unfortunately locked up in Manchester, England. Okay. So let's go back. Let me see. Let me pull up his chart here. I was trying to do it before I came on live and it wasn't working, but I'm going to try again because I want to look at some house rulerships and go a little bit deeper if I can. Yep, it's not, for some reason, it's not allowing me to pull up his chart. But okay, no worries. I'll just read it here off the cuff because that's what I feel like doing. All right, so let's go back to the top because I did say that I was going to read that. So transit Uranus in Taurus square the North Node in Pisces and the South Node in Virgo. So he has his North Node in Let me go to his chart real quick. Let me see as well if I can just, maybe if I can take this one down and then try to add the chart so that you guys can see it. I think it's just like more helpful if you guys can see it. Let's see. Oh, technology. Nope, still not working. Okay. I tried, guys. I do apologize. But again, I'm going to post his natal chart in the community tab. So when you're listening to the episode, you can like take a screenshot of it and you can kind of follow me as I go along with it. Okay. So again, his north node is in the 8th house and the south node is in the 2nd house. So I'm going to look at the ruler of the 8th house. And so the ruler of Pisces is Jupiter. That's the traditional ruler. And the modern ruler would be Neptune. Okay. So Jupiter is in the 11th house, which is long-term goals and long-term plans. So we're going to go with that placement. So long-term plans, right? That's the 11th house. That's Aquarius energy. So Jupiter is in that house that rules long-term goals and long-term plans. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because his long-term goals and long-term plans are halted right now because he's behind bars, right? So with transit Uranus and Taurus in a square to the nodes of fate, because the 8th house ruler is in the 11th house, it's also going to affect not only the 8th house, but the 11th house as well, which is, you know, I mean, there's a plethora of things going on. The 10th house is affected because Uranus is transiting there. The Pisces placement is in the 8th house and in the 11th house. So this is why we're saying this so publicly as well, because this is all happening in the northern hemisphere of the chart. The 8th house, the 11th house, and the 10th house, which is the highest, highest parts of the chart. Anything from like, houses 1 to 6, that's our like private, kind of like private life, what we do, like it's in the lower hemisphere of the chart. It's near the 4th house. But we're seeing this so publicly because of how the energy is manifesting in these 3 houses that are so public, right? So I'm just kind of trying to teach you guys how to get more insight as to what exactly else is going on a deeper level with Chris Brown while he is locked up. So not only is his career taking a hit with Uranus and Taurus in the 10th house, right? And his money is going to be taking a hit with the South Node in the 2nd house in Virgo, and the North Node in the 8th house in Pisces, because the 2nd house and the 8th house rules our finances. So the 2nd house is like how you can acquire wealth through your own means and your values and how you're going to create that wealth, whereas the 8th house is the wealth from like taxes, inheritances, life insurance, the money that you make from a business, these kinds of things, right? So with Uranus in a square to the North Node and the South Node, aka Uranus is in the square to his financial axis. So there's no more making money when you're in jail. It's a wrap, right? And Uranus is the planet that talks about sudden and shocking events. So there's a sudden and shocking event that has happened, which is him being arrested, that has halted his, financial axis. It's halted him making money because he can no longer tour, or whatever he was doing in Manchester, he can no longer do that. Okay, so it could feel like a fall from grace. Okay. So that's that. So number 2 was transit Saturn in Aries, where Mars and Cancer in the 12th house. So in the 12th house, he has Cancer. So The ruler of the 12th house would be the 10th house because his moon is in Taurus in the 10th house. Okay, so here's another double whammy of public reputation being hit hard by transit Saturn in Aries. Because if transit Saturn in Aries is square to Mars in Cancer, then the ruler of that house is also being affected as well. So this is not a good emotional time for Chris Brown. Obviously, I mean, why would it be if someone is incarcerated, right? So this is really serious, guys. This is very serious. And the moon in Taurus, these people, they love creature comforts. They love good food. They love, luxury. So him being incarcerated is not good, y'all. Like this could feel like hell for someone who has a moon in Taurus. Okay. You're not getting luxury meals incarcerated. You don't have access to luxury clothing. You don't have the creature comforts of life in prison. This could likely feel to Chris like hell on earth. Like you're not getting good food, you're getting jail food. Like it's not good. It's really going to take a toll on him emotionally. And hey, Chris can be tough all he wants and have this persona, but it's going to be an insecure time for him behind bars. Because what he needs to feel safe and secure is those luxuries: good food, good wine, good music, good looking women, whatever the case may be, good home environment, nice things, these things drive him, right? And then with the moon being in the 10th house, it's like his career makes him happy. His career makes him whole. Why do you think we've seen Chris Brown, continue to persevere in his career despite all the missteps he's had? I mean, look at the passion that he exudes on stage. That's because his moon is in the 10th house. Performing and being involved in his career, it secures him. It provides him with a sense of stability. So having that taken away from him, it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing. If we move on now to transit Pluto in Aquarius, square the midheaven in Taurus. Okay. And so the ruler of the 10th house will be Venus. And so Venus is also in the 10th house. This is really going to as much as he's in jail, for as long as he's going to be in jail, is really going to affect his money and his career. I'll just say that. He has a strong Venus because Venus is the ruler of Taurus, right? But this is also speaking to, like I said, with Pluto and Aquarius squaring the midheaven in Taurus and the ruler of the 10th house being in the 10th house as well. This also speaks to why his bail was denied. Bail was denied. Bail was denied. Our bail money is Venus, right? We're using tangible money, right? The tangible things to get us out of Dodge. But because Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto is the power struggle with the people that, have put him behind bars, right? So unfortunately, this is the case. This is what's happening. Pluto is the people who put him in jail, and the midheaven in Taurus is him. Venus in Taurus is him. right? I mean, everything is like really stacked up against him here. So I hope that that made sense. Moving on now to the next transit, like I said, transit Neptune and Aries. Um, I believe I said square to Uranus and Capricorn. So he has Capricorn in the sixth house. And so the ruler of the sixth house, which is Capricorn, which would be Saturn, is also in the sixth house. So it's like this is such like caged energy. To me, what this looks like is like there's no wiggle room. Every When I look at every house rulership, it just goes back to the same house. And what that is translating to me is being caged. You're trying to step out, nope, we're bringing you back in. You're trying to move, nope, we're bringing you back in. You have to deal with it. Chris Brown has to deal with what he did in 2023 to that person. It is, my goodness, like it's not good. It's not good. Um, Now, here's the thing about the timing of all of this, right? So we have to consider that Saturn will be in Aries. Um, it's going to be in Aries in 2026. And so Saturn is going to be in Aries in his ninth house of legalities. And so this is the main trigger for legal consequences that he's going to be going through. Listen, do not expect Chris Brown to just get out scot-free on June the 13th. I don't think it's going to happen because, like I said, I have the chart here, the transits here for June 13th, and it's not looking good because Saturn is square his Mars, Saturn is square Uranus, Saturn is square Chiron, Saturn is square the vertex, and Saturn is square Uranus. It's just not looking good. Also, in terms of timing, Pluto in Aquarius will be, in Aquarius from now until 2044. So for Chris Brown, this ensures long-term, possibly sentencing. Moving on to Neptune and Aries, that's happening right now into 2039. This could suggest ongoing struggles with truth and legal confusion as well. It's just not a good time, y'all. It's just not a good time. So there it is. I'm going to leave it there. This is part 2. Let me know down in the comments if you would like me to go deeper into will Chris Brown go to like what is his fated transits? Like will he like stay in prison? What's really going to happen there? I try to cover as much as I can and not make the video too long because I don't do timestamps. And I feel like the longer the video, the less people will watch it. So try to keep these videos under 30 minutes. And the podcast episodes longer than 30 minutes. But so let me know down in the comments what you think, guys. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. And if you would like to book a reading with me, all the information is down in the description box. I will see you guys in the next video or podcast.